Brezza, the city-bred SUV.
The Royals have been setting the early pace. 4 wins out of 4, the only unbeaten side in the tournament as things stand. Can the Titans stop them? The Titans, who have had the wood over the Royals in the early stages of this rivalry, including a victory in the 2022 final. Rajasthan Royals versus Gujarat Titans is match number 24 of the season. Build up to that starts now on Maruti Suzuki Arena. Presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout, where it's a good evening to Tom Moody, Mitch McClenaghan and Deep Dasgupta. A slight delayed start in Jaipur with rain around has meant a slight delayed start for us here, but we welcome Deep back. You tend to call all these games which go down the wire.
Yeah, and brilliant, isn't it? It was a wonderful game yesterday. It was a very close game, but a very weird game as well. It just went about in its own pace and its own way,
Yeah, GT looking to get back after having lost their last 2 in a row. Let's take a look at the points table before we begin the build-up to this game. Rajasthan sit pretty at the top. Gujarat, 3 losses. That puts them just 1 away from their total number of defeats in each of the 2022 and 2023 campaigns. They topped the league stage both times, so this is already new territory for Gujarat. They're not used to losing more matches than they win. Can they climb up? You still know it's early days, a victory today, and it puts them in that pack between 2 to 5, where there are 4 different teams level on 6 points. One of the big focus of attention, of course, going into this game and going into most of the games over the next 20 days is that we're also counting down to the T20 World Cup. Squads will be announced by the 1st of May. And today, one of the positions for India, which is still up for debate, is the wicket-keeper. Sanju Samson has had a good start to the season. Jitesh Sharma is the one who was keeping for India in most of the games they played before this. And Rishabh Pant has come back as well. We look at their numbers so far in the season. Samson setting the early pace. He's made the runs, but he bats at a very different position to what you'd imagine India are looking for in their T20 World Cup side. Deep, I'll come to you with this. Yeah. First up, is Samson a contender for the World Cup?
Definitely yes. Absolutely no two ways about it. The way he's been batting so far in the IPL, I know he's batting at number 3, but then when you look at him, you know he can bat low down the order as well, which he has for India in the past. So, yeah, definitely yes.
Does the fact that he bats at number 3 and what we imagine India's wicket-keeping hole is in the expected setup, does that make Sanju Samson's case a little less viable?
I think it makes it a little bit more challenging for him, but at the end of the day, if he continues the form that he's currently showing, he builds a very, very good case for him to be selected, particularly given, as Deep said, that he has moved up and down the order in the past. It's not ideal because ideally you're wanting players to get really familiar with their particular role that you'd expect them to play. That's why the return of Pant is such a significant one. And to me, if he continues to get through, I think it's more of a physical thing than a form thing. If he gets through this IPL and he's all good physically, he's an absolute no-brainer and in the starting 11.
Yeah.
Mitch, from what you've seen so far, Jitesh batting more in terms of that position, and we'll have some numbers up for you which will show how these guys are batting after the power play, which is where they're likely to bat for India. So between Jitesh and Pant and Sanju Samson, who would you be picking if you had to make the pick today?
Look, I'm a big Sanju Samson fan, but I think with the way the makeup of their top 3 is looking like, I don't think he's going to get a look in. Whether that's right or wrong, I think it's just a bit of a shut door at the minute. That being said, I wouldn't exclude him as being your backup keeper and also your cover for your top 3 position. I know Shubman Gill comes into the conversation there as well, but I think Sanju Samson is arguably one of the best local number 3s all time in the IPL, and he's shown that form this year. When you're talking about those positions in terms of if it's going to have to be outside of the power play, and they're probably looking at a 5-6 role, I think Rishabh Pant is comfortable down in that position. Yeah. He gives you that left-hand option as well if they go in with a side that doesn't have a Shivam Dubé in the middle there. So he's probably the front runner at the moment. But Jitesh Sharma as well, like he hasn't done anything wrong. Yep, he hasn't had that big innings, but he's batted how you want a number 6 to come out and bat. He's striking more often than not at the back end. The last few games, he's striking 180, 200. Smaller, impactful innings, but he's still doing the job you'd want in a T20 World Cup squad.
Quickly to add to that, Rishabh obviously is a first choice. There's absolutely no two ways about it. But Sanju, even though he's batting at 3, if you want him to bat at 4 and 5, what do you need? His strike rate in the first 10 balls against spin and against pace, and if you look at that, they're good. So you know he can do that job at 4 and 5 as well. As in coming in and hitting those big shots from word go. So I think, even though he's batting at 3, but you can see him bat at 4 and 5 and do that same thing.
Okay, so let's all put on the selector's hat then, and we'll start with the wicketkeeper on the panel. If you had to name 2 in a World Cup squad for India at this moment, who would they be?
Rishabh, definitely. And while I do understand what you're saying about Jitesh, Mitch, but because last 4-5 innings, I'm going to go with Sanju as number 2. Yeah.
Mitch.
Yeah, I'll be going with Rishabh and Sanju Samson as the 2 options.
Tom?
I'm going with Punt, and I'm going to sit on the fence for my second one. But I want to see a couple more games.
All right.
I don't want to...
Running out of time, mate.
Well,
May 1st is around the corner.
yeah, okay, but I just don't think... Leading into this IPL, Jitesh was the front runner. He's been playing in that role for India, and I just find it very difficult to leave him out purely on the basis that he is in their minds for the World Cup and has been playing, and he's a specialist in that spot at number 6.
Yeah. But I think what he asked was if you have to pick a team today, not a month from now.
Yeah,
I'm
picking a team. I'm picking Punt.
No,
I'm
Punt
picking
one.
a team.
Or you're not picking a 15.
I'm not picking a squad.
The other thing to take into account as well is Jitesh is there's the new 2-bouncer rule. We know he's probably got a weakness against the shorter balls, so that's taking some adjustment. That's not going to be there at the World Cup, and sometimes some players play better when they play for India, and we've got to take that into account. It happens in teams all around the world. May not go well for their franchise or as well as you'd expect for their franchise, for a multitude of reasons, whether it's franchise form or management, but he looks like a player who plays well for India. So, I can see the argument from both sides, except for Tom hasn't really formed an argument on the Jitesh side.
Well, I want to throw KL Rahul in there. We haven't even talked about him. Because, to me, his numbers stack up. If you're looking for a number 3.
Does, but you're not looking for number 3. You're looking at 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
My only challenge is I haven't seen KL bat that position in T20 cricket. I've seen him bat in 50 overs cricket.
And do it very well.
But I haven't seen him in T20. And again, going back to my argument for Sanju, even though he's batting at 3, can he do the job at 4 and 5? Will KL Rahul come and hit the first ball for a 6 against spin or pace? I mean, does he have that strike rate in his first 10 balls? Maybe he would have it if he's not opening. Approach would be different, but we still haven't seen him bat in those positions.
We will leave it at that here, because while I did ask you for a pick today, I'm sure we do get to revisit this conversation over the next 20 days before that squad is picked. What we can inform you is that Sanju Samson and his Rajasthan Royals will be batting first. Shubman Gill won the toss after that delayed start, and Gujarat Titans will bowl first in this game, which also means that Yashasvi Jaiswal gets a go. Yashasvi Jaiswal and Shubman Gill, between them, form another T20 World Cup conversation potentially as Rohit Sharma's opening partner. You'd have thought coming into the season Jaiswal is the incumbent given the kind of last 12 odd months he'd had, but it's been a slow start so far. Tom, while we don't want to read too much into 4 games, how do you address the challenge of a player who's had such a sensational 12 odd months for the first time facing this kind of a lull since becoming a star? How do young players cope with that?
I don't think there's any issue whatsoever. I think Jaiswal's an absolute superstar. He's shown that, how he's climbed through the ranks so quickly and adapted to all formats for India so successfully, and with Rajasthan, he's hit the ground running. He's checked out for 4 games. I don't see that as a big deal. I think he's critical for the World Cup. You need a left-hander at the top to counter what the opposition are potentially going to do to India's top order with the likes of, left arm spin and other options. So a small blip on the radar is not an issue.
Mitch?
Yeah, look, I think you look at the low scores, but what I do like about him, the way he's gone about those innings as well, he hasn't got the starts, but even the other night he got none off 2, right? And everyone's going, oh no, Jaiswal's play a big shot across the line type. And put one straight up the chimney. But what it did show is that he saw that swing was a threat, and Reece Topley's a very predictable bowler at the top. He doesn't bowl change-ups. He just hits a good length. And he made the aggressive move to come down the track and try and put him under some pressure and try and make Reece Topley change his length. And to me, that was smart cricket. He didn't get the result he would have liked. He didn't execute the shot, but it was the right idea. And usually when guys are out of form, you see them scratch on the crease, like we saw Josh Buttler do the last couple of games, where he's poking and not wondering where his runs are and not overly clear. Jaiswal still looks clear in his decision-making, and that's what you want to see. And it's going to swing around. And if you guys don't take him in the impact zone tonight, I'm definitely going to take him because he's going to get a big one.
Thanks for your advice.
We'll take it on board.
Yeah.
But you know what? You mentioned about his form. I mean, he hasn't stayed long enough to figure out what his form's like.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and I think he's in brilliant form. He's short on runs, and that's predominantly because of shot selection and nothing else. That's what I think. I mean, obviously he's coming off a very, very good test series, brilliant test series. And he's just, within a week, he's moved to T20 cricket. I think he's kind of somewhere there. But, yeah, it's just around the corner, impact.
His role in that partnership, because Josh Buttler actually, for what we all believe, Josh Buttler actually gets off the slower starts than you think. He'll get to a strike rate of 130, 135 in the power play. And then majority of the time, his strike rate increases as the inning goes on, quite significantly. So his role in that partnership is to be aggressive at the top, which he's been trying to do.
Yeah, just the one bit I want to explore here is how much would past trends play in the minds of a young player who, at such a young age, is looking for his first World Cup? Because if you look at India's selections in the past, especially for top-order batters, there is a history of runs and average being given weightage over strike rates. Does that start playing on Jaiswal's mind?
I hope not, and I don't think so, because I think last couple of years he's been encouraged to bat the way he does. I don't think even with failures anyone has ever told him, you know, don't do this or just stay there longer, don't play shots and stuff like that. I think, and in last 2-3 years, even though he's very young, but he's been through ups and downs. There was a year with Rajasthan Royals where he didn't get too many runs. So, you know, so it's not that he hasn't seen the lows. He has seen it, and I think he should be fine. I mean, again, shot selection, one innings, he's just one start away from getting a big one.
We saw the other night a great example of what impact has on the game as opposed to aggregate of runs. And we saw that with Mumbai. They had no one get above 50 runs, and they still got 240 plus. And that's the style of T20 cricket that I think is going to be more successful going forward, and not looking at those milestones. So I think you've kind of got to look at it a little bit differently in that kind of point of view.
Quick vote then. If there is only one spot in the team, in the squad, between Jaiswal and Gill, who would you pick?
Jaiswal.
Unanimous it is. All right. So here's hoping Jaiswal finds his way back to runs in Jaipur. Has had a bit of a tough time against Gujarat Titans. Small sample size, 4 innings where he's made 40, strike rate much below what we are accustomed to seeing from Jaiswal. But the big threat for Jaiswal, for everyone in that Rajasthan lineup, barring Jaiswal, everyone's been in form. Butler's got the 100 in the last game. Riyan Parag's been among the runs. Sanju Samson has had a consistent start to the season. All of them, barring Samson, tend to have poor numbers against Rashid Khan, and Rashid Khan gets to go at them first. You look at Josh Buttler, and it's a very intriguing matchup over a decent enough sample size, where it's 8 innings. Those 30 runs have come off 47 balls, and not a single boundary for Buttler against Rashid Khan. It tells you something, Deep.
Yeah, experience. You know, I mean, he would still score runs, but the biggest threat of getting out is Rashid, play him out, and then attack the other bowlers. So I think, he hasn't got him as yet, or sorry, rather, 3 out of 8. But I guess it's just experience. That's how you plan your innings, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I'd look at it slightly differently. I think there's a real gap in Josh Buttler's game against Rashid Khan. Just going back to when I was coaching at Sunrisers and Rashid was there, it was a real obvious matchup. And, you know, he had him more often than not, either, had him out or, had him absolutely suffocated, and the other end paid the price. because of the whole innings slowed down. I also remember an occasion where we had Joss Buttler LBW, but we'd run out of reviews. And we couldn't go upstairs for a review, and it was absolutely smashing the stumps down. So you can put 4 in that dismissal book.
I think that was a game at the Kotla.
Yeah, right.
He went on to make 100.
He did.
While blocking Rashid all throughout.
Yeah.
It's fascinating as well because they've used Rashid at the end of the power play in the last couple of games, and there's 3 guys lined up in a row. Or you've got Joss if he gets through the power play, then you've got Rian Parag and Hetmeyer. Who are all there, who all struggle against Rashid Khan. So do they still bowl Rashid Khan in the power play, or they wait for the middle order to really take advantage of those matchups?
I think they can if they're playing Noor as well. So if they're playing Noor, he can play that role in the middle overs, and you've got Rashid to attack early.
Yeah, and when you look at the effect on the others, everyone in this batting lineup, Rashid's dismissed Hetmeyer thrice in 9 outings. R. Ashwin, who's often sent up by this team, thrice for 9 runs.
And that would be the case with a lot of batters when you're talking about Rashid there. So it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise that Rashid has good numbers against most of the batters. So I mean, the other important thing is this year, post his injury and his like very serious injury, he still hasn't found the rhythm, Rashid. I mean, if you look at his economy rate, last game though he bowled well. But I think, what a lot of batters and started doing is play him off the length, too short or too full. So as a bowler, you've got to find that in-between length where, where someone like Butler, who struggles because he doesn't have a huge front foot. So I think that's the length that he still hasn't found so far this season. So I guess, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, let's see how the teams are lining up for this one. Rajasthan Royals, they are batting first on this occasion, and in their side we see a first game for Kuldeep Sen. Nandre Berger, I think, I don't see him anywhere, not even on the impact bench. So they go in with 3 overseas. They also have Keshav Maharaj available on the bench. He is a replacement player for Adam Zampa. Robin Powell is on the bench, but Rajasthan batting first, Robin Powell becomes a contingency. You'd imagine it's a fitness issue, and how do you see Rajasthan choosing their bowling picks in the second innings, Tom?
Very good question. I think a lot of it's going to be down to the conditions, but you'd think Maharaj would be the one that would come in to that now, which is what they did last year with Zampa when he was in the squad. They were more than happy to play the 3 spinners in their makeup, but you'd think that Berger must be either rested or injured for him not to be playing, because he's had a great start, hasn't he?
Yeah. Quick glance at Gujarat Titans and how they're lining up before we head to the impact zone. A few changes there. Matthew Wade gets a game for the first time for GT since IPL 2022. So no Kane Williamson. Abhinav Manohar, who we've spoken of so often, is in, but Vijay Shankar retains his place. It's B.R. Sharath who played the last game as the keeper who goes out. So Wade expected to keep. Shah Rukh Khan is there on the impact bench. Haven't seen that too often so far this season. Deep, take us through that quickly.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Matthew Wade in there, and you can use him differently if you want to. I don't know whether he's going to open or go at 6, because it's that middle order which looks a little, thin there. So you can use Matthew Wade also at 5-6 in that David Miller position. And obviously because Sai Sudarshan and Gill seems to have found a good partnership there. So why, and if and when David Miller is available, you would have him at number 5. So you rather have Wade playing in that position as long as he's there.
All right, we've seen the 2 lineups. Let's get to the favorite part of the show then, at least for this gentleman. It's time for us to go into the impact zone. You know how this works. 1 batter, 1 bowler and 1 wild card for each of the 3 picks. The points are counted as per ESPN Cricket Info Smart Stats. The expert with the highest points tally for each match gets 3 points added to that tally. This is what happened after yesterday. Wasim Jafar landed an outrageous pick, so that got him 5 points. He has climbed above Mitch McClenaghan. A couple of difficult days. GT have had a couple of difficult days. They are hoping to avoid a hat-trick. And Mitch, in your bid to avoid the hat-trick, you get the first pick
I get the first
from
pick.
today.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to go with. Well, I said I'll go with Jaiswal. He's none of three, so I'll stick with Jaiswal.
All right. Tom.
I'll go with Shubman Gill.
Oh, no.
It's okay. Keep that up.
Right. Okay. Right. Josh Butler.
Yeah. So, Tom next with the bowler.
I'll go with Rashid Khan.
All right. Mitch.
I will go with Umesh Yadav.
Ooh.
Yadav.
Ooh.
And
That's
to you,
left
Deep.
field.
It's bowled 4 dot balls. Is that right?
I've got to try and avoid the negative. Come on. Any advantage. This one goes for 4.
Gonna say Noor.
And it did. It did go for 4.
That's cricket karma
That is
for you.
cricket karma.
Wow. So, wild card, you go first. Deep.
Wild card.
You can pick any of the players who's left. Bring up the team sheets.
Yeah, if you could, please. Sanju Samson.
We've gone Sanju Samson. Okay. I will go Chahal.
Oh, good call.
From Mitch.
Good
and
call.
Tom. Final call for you.
I'm going to go with Rian Prague.
All right. Rian Parag for Tom. So Tom has Shubman Gill, Rashid Khan, Rian Parag. Mitch, you've got Jaiswal, Umesh Yadav, Yuzvendra Chahal, and Deep with Butler, Noor Ahmed, and Sanju Samson. Wish you all well. Into the other predictions now. So let's get a score and an outrageous call for the game. Tom, you first.
I think the score is going to be 181.
All right.
An outrageous prediction is going to be that Butler, because I don't have him, is going to be out.
Hey, out.
Is going to be out for less than 12 balls.
I thought you were going to say he's going to
12
get
or
100 or
less.
something.
12 or less. Jeez.
Okay.
Mitch.
Okay, I'm not going to comment on the 12 ball thing. It's just
Sure you're not.
creeping up.
It's only 2 ball difference, mate. Just let it go.
Quite significant, isn't it? It's a third of an over. I'm going to say that there's going to score 193,
All right.
and I'm going to say Rashid Khan will get 2 of Josh Butler, Hepmeyer, and Rian Parag. So
Wow.
2 of those 3.
Butler, Hetmeyer, and Parag, you said.
Yeah.
All right. Deep.
Score, I'm going to say 190.
Okay.
And Bolt will not get a wicket in his first over.
That's not outrageous, though.
That is outrageous. I mean, look at his
Middle of
record.
the road.
Yeah,
can
that's
say
that's
in the
more in the
match.
bold
That's
category.
in the bold
Outrageous.
category.
I'll give
You
you
can,
another.
say, you can say in the match.
If he doesn't get a wicket in the game, that's outrageous.
That is
Okay.
outrageous.
He won't then.
So Bolt wicketless through the game.
Anyone pick Bolt?
No, we
Nope.
didn't.
Okay.
No, we all
So no
thought
one
the same.
stands to lose anything. You stand to get 5 if that happens. So all the best to all of you. Thank you for that. The game's underway. Let's see which way it goes. Rajasthan Royals batting first. Will Jaiswal be back among the runs? Follow the game on the ESPN Cricinfo mobile app. Go ahead and download it if you haven't already. And we'll be back here right at the end of the Rajasthan Royals innings. So be sure to join us then on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricinfo Timeout.
All new hot and techy Brezza, the Citybird SUV.